Hi guys. So this is a image, an SVG that I printed out from my Cricut design space. It's kind of like their fake tanagram. I don't know if you call it fake tanagram, but that's what I call it. Um, it's their tanagram SVG that they have on Cricut design space, and I thought I'd do a little my own version of a tanagram because putting on individual glitters and peeling and doing all that just doesn't sound very fun to me. So this is my version of my tangram, and I am actually using the shiniest, most blingy everything. So you'll see here. But anyway, this is the image, and I know it's hard to see, but I am going to just put the whole thing on my tumbler as is. It is cut out, and I will show you what I do here in just a second. I am going to use a 25-ounce straight duo tumbler from Stainless Steel Depot. And I just left it sanded and washed with, I did not spray paint it. These are really easy to do a full wrap on because they are straight, there's no taper, and I've just had a lot of luck with them. If you're wondering why I use these all the time for almost every one of my tutorials, it's because they had a big sale on the cases, and I have a huge stock of them. So, plus they're easy to use because they are straight. So just do your best to get that on the tumbler straight. You can see I'm kind of pulling it back, and some of those little shapes are pulling out, and that's fine. This is kind of loosey-goosey here today. I don't worry about it too much, so you'll see what I do. So obviously I must have put that on crooked. Didn't like the way it was, so. Doing these voiceovers after I've actually made the cup is sometimes difficult because I forget what I was thinking and doing at the time of actually putting the cup together. So, come on guys, I got a lot of stuff going on, a lot of tumblers I'm doing, and a ton of tutorials that I'm going to be having up for you guys. So, anyway. Here we go. I'm gonna wrap it on there, and so I'm actually going to pull up the outline of a tangram. You'll see me do that here in just a minute, and just leave the shapes, if that makes any sense. You'll see what I'm talking about. And you see those shapes there that are open. I'm just leaving them. They just won't have the vinyl on them later, and that's fine because it'll make more sense here in a minute. I know I'm being vague. I'm sorry. I'm not the greatest explainer. I was having a little trouble with my contact paper. Since the vinyl is cut, you know, it will pull up some of those cut pieces. So just take your time. Avoid the impulse to toss it across the room. It's okay. You'll get through it. You'll get it. You'll get there. These are a normal tangram is very intricate and probably tests your patience. This one wasn't so bad for me, to be honest. Finally. Just going to rub that vinyl down, make sure it's on there really good. And like I said, I'm going to remove all of the outline because we're going to do like a peekaboo. This is the most satisfying part here. Now you're going to start to see the shapes that I was talking about. And they have like, you know, a few of them and then a couple open areas. And so it's hard to imagine, I guess, looking at it like this. But this is going to be a peekaboo. So the little shapes that are left on the cup will eventually be open. You'll understand here in a bit. If you've never done peekaboos before, they're probably one of my favorite type of tumblers to do. There's just something, I don't know, satisfying about it. And I love pulling vinyl off, apparently. So just get in there and rip that off, and we're going to go out and spray paint this little beauty here in just a minute. When you're doing these peekaboos and you're going to peel off that vinyl, make sure you're using removable vinyl or stencil vinyl. It'll make your life a lot easier. I'm just peeling off those end pieces because I wanted to have a clean edge, so it looks kind of cool. Let's go outside and spray paint. I'm going to use the 2x Rust-Oleum black to do a base. I'm leaving that vinyl on. I'm going to spray over top, and this will be the base color for my glitter that I'm going to add. Let that dry thoroughly, and here we are. I'm trying to decide what color glitter to use for this. At first I was going to use that black holographic, but then later you'll see that I changed my mind. So I'm going in with the Tack It method. You know, lately I haven't even been watering down my Tack It. I've had really good luck with it, just putting it straight from the bottle on the tumbler. But you know, if you want to water down your Tack It, that's perfectly fine if that works for you. I just find that you know, it works just as well coming out of the cup or out of the container. Just don't use too much. I think I got a little too much here, so I have to spread that along the whole thing. And just brush it back and forth and try to get in all those little grooves. I want to do a Tack It ombre, so that's what I ended up doing, and you'll see the glitters I use. I went with like a purple and a blue, and it is holographic, like a purple and a blue with a blue to green shift, and it turned out absolutely gorgeous. I'll list the glitters down below. I believe they're from Glitter Chimp, and I'll show you here in just a second. So don't forget, when you're doing the Tack It method, you want to apply the Tack It evenly in even strokes and just a thin layer, and let that dry until it's tacky. So here it is. You can see it's shiny, tacky. So this is Hydra from Glitter Chimp and Purple from Glitter Chimp. And I'm going in and going to do an ombre. These two glitters are so pretty. I don't think I've used them before, so I was really happy to see how cool they turned out. They're so shiny when I burnish them down. So when you're doing ombres, you just want to have aim the shaker at the corner top of the cup and just angle your tumbler down at about 45-degree angle and let that glitter just fall. That'll help those two colors to mix in the center so you have a good ombre. There's a million tutorials out there with how to get a good ombre. If you guys are interested in seeing a little bit more in depth of how I do it, just let me know in the comments below. But like I said, there are so many tutorials out there. But I'm happy to show you guys, if you know, a little closer up. So that purple is not very pretty when I put it on just straight on the cup. But watch when I burnish that down. That glitter is very unique, that purple. And it just, oh my gosh, it just explodes. Both these glitters look really pretty over that black base also. Now remember, your glitters will change depending on the color of the base of your cup. So if you're using a white base, they will look different than using a black base. These holographic glitters did hold their color on the black base. Sometimes they'll change to the color shift, and that's usually using the white holographic. So just make sure you burnish down really well, get all those little grooves until you don't feel any more bumpy glitter. You want to make sure your tack-it was dry, because if not, it'll just smear all over and then you'll have a mess and have to add another layer. So this video does not do that purple justice. Once it gets under epoxy, oh my gosh guys, it's gorgeous. I really like that glitter. So right after I burnish this down, I'm going to go in and pull off those pieces of vinyl. Remember, we have not put any epoxy on this tumbler yet. That's important, because if you were to go in with a epoxy right now, you wouldn't be able to peel your vinyl up. So I'm using this little needle tool I got at the Dollar Tree. It seems to be like one of my favorite ones for my peekaboos lately. And it was only $1. I got 2 of them for $1. So if you get at the Dollar Tree, pick one up, because it works really well. So you can see the peekaboo is going to be stainless steel. And if you wanted to, you could go in later with like a contrasting color of glitter and some Mod Podge and paint those little shapes in, but I'm not going to do that. This is my version of Tangram. Like I said, I didn't want to do all the individual different color glitters, even though I think they're absolutely beautiful. I don't know, wasn't feeling it. I wanted to try something different. So I'm actually going to peel these up, and instead of doing individual different glitters, I'm going to put a really cool vinyl on there. And that's why I wanted to use or have some spaces in there, some negative space. So I'll let you watch the lovely satisfaction of peeling up my peekaboo here. So I just thought of another way that you could do this tumbler. You could do it as a double glitter peekaboo. So you could glitter the tumbler, epoxy it, let it cure, and then place the Tangram on, so that the glitter that you put on first would show through. And then, you know, that's just another variation here to save you from doing a million glitters, which that would be cool too. I just thought I'd put that in there. So this is the next day. After I pulled off all that peekaboo vinyl, I did go in with a coat of quick set epoxy and let that cure. This is my vinyl. I did cut it the same way that I cut the original template, and I just peeled up all of the outline. So basically you're just cutting that twice. This is a highly reflective, I can't even explain. It's like a flashy, holographic, metallic. It has a gold and a red shift to it, kind of. Even a green. I don't know, it's a weird holographic color vinyl. I believe it's Tech Wrap that I purchased on Amazon. It's really beautiful. This tumbler turns out to be like flashy bling bling. So I'm just going to use my tweezers and place these pieces of vinyl down. Now there are some areas that have little gaps where you can still see a tiny little sliver of the stainless through, but I will remedy that here like in a further step. This is probably the most tedious part of this tumbler, and it really wasn't even that bad once I kind of got in the groove. Just take your time with it, you know, match it up best you can. It didn't take me too long. I think picking them up with the tweezers was honestly the worst part. So I'll just let you watch this part and I'll show you what the next step is. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to put a layer of epoxy on and let that cure. Look at how shiny this is. Look at that glitter and that flash of the vinyl. Isn't that satisfying? Now, one little trick that I'm going to tell you guys that I like to do, and I've found that it's really helped, whenever I have metallic vinyl, before I put a layer of epoxy on, I use my Bright Tone. It's a water-based urethane sealer. Some people use Crystal Bright Tone to actually make tumblers. I use it as a sealer. So I'll put a layer of that on over top of my vinyl before I epoxy it. I let that, you know, dry for 4 hours, and then I'll go in with epoxy. It helps prevent bubbles on my vinyl because sometimes metallic vinyl has a lot of bubbles. Anyway, that's a little tip for you guys. You can also use CC DIY Quick Coat. I've never used that myself, but I know it's about the same. So these are some little nail foils that I purchased on Amazon. There's all different colors. There's cute little like holographic and metallic shine ones. I'm going to use a purple metallic shine and a blue with holographic kind of prism. They're really, really thin. But I wanted to use this as a way to cover up those little slivers of stainless. They are self-sticking. They're really easy to put on, apart from finding the end of the roll. But I got it eventually. So what I'm doing here, and it's going to be kind of hard to see because there's a lot of glare from the light, and the tumbler is so shiny. But on every row on the left side, I'm putting the blue. And on every row on the right side, I'm putting the purple, just to give it a little bit of a contrast, kind of flash of color, and to cover up those little areas. Since it is kind of hard to see me doing this, I don't have too much footage of this, but you guys get the gist. I'll let you watch. That stuff's, it's nice because it does stick and it's really easy to put on. I just wish it was a little bit wider. If I had some, the right color vinyl, I probably would have cut my own vinyl strips. But I didn't have any blue holographic vinyl, so I just used these. And it turns out really pretty. You'll see after a while. So here you see the end. I let it overhang and I'm just brushing them down, make sure that they're going to stick really well. I'm going to go in with a sharp X-Acto knife and just trim off those little end pieces at the top and the bottom. These are basically like tinsel. They're kind of hard to get a hold of. I kind of struggle here for a minute, but then I get in a groove and it works out. It's okay. Just keep at it. Just a little note, once I pull those off the bottom, the sticky of the nail foil did leave a little residue. So just take alcohol, a little rubbing alcohol, and wipe it off before you do your next coat of epoxy. So after I was done here pulling off these little edges, I'm going to again seal it with my Crystal-Lac varnish, let that dry, and then put my final coat of epoxy. I only had to do one more coat. This tumbler only has about 2 total coats of epoxy, which is really nice because it's a nice thin tumbler. And here it is. Guys, I know in this video it looks shiny and beautiful, but this tumbler in person is just even more beautiful than what this video is showing. So I hope you guys liked my version of the tangram. It's not perfect, but I think it turned out really pretty, and it is an eye catcher for sure. If you're new to my channel and you like my videos, hit that subscribe button. Click that little bell so you know when I upload more. I try to upload every Sunday. Leave me a comment and any questions, I'll try to get back with you. Thank you so much, guys, and happy crafting.